with the football game. Tatum drives down and throws it down. Wow.
To throw, rainbows it down the right side for Kyle Pitts. He's got it. He's there. Touchdown. Oh, my.
Welcome back, everybody, to the Sports Bits Podcast, and I think from this point on, we're going to change the name to the Ben Simmons Podcast because it seems like that's the only news that's coming out right now. You know, I feel like we're doing like the Real Housewives of the NBA with this kind of stuff. But
it all centers around Kim Kardashian.
Khloe
Kardashian.
Well, right now, no, because Book is dating her now.
That's the point.
Book's dating Kendall.
Okay, whatever. Either way, that is not what we're talking. That is not what we're talking about today. Got a nice news segment for y'all. Going to talk about some rookies, and then we'll talk about some team trends as well.
Yes. Oh my God. Anyway.
So all right, let's just jump right into it. So right now, I think you probably want to take this one because again, this is about your team.
I'm gonna take the lead on this one. So I think it was on Tuesday. Sources came out that I think it was the Celtics that called up Daryl Morey, asking about trade offers for Ben Simmons. And first, when I saw that, I was going to shit my pants. And like, I do not want this man on my team. But good news that Brad Stevens is a smart human being. You know, so, you know, they were talking about like who they want to trade. And they were like, I think Brad Stevens was trying to offer up Robert Williams and Peyton Pritchard and Marcus Smart and stuff. And then Daryl Morey asked for Jalen Brown. And then after that, Brad Stevens did the equivalent of, hang up the phone, trade talks are done. Right when you ask for somebody who's basically untouchable for the Celtics, trade talks ended. Yeah. So, I'm happy because I didn't want to get rid of Jalen Brown. I don't want Ben Simmons. So, you know what? I think that's a good move for the team.
Yeah,
that's all
I know.
I'm going to say.
The Sixers did say that pretty much any deal that would involve Ben Simmons going to Boston would have to include Jalen Brown. And I know, like you said, he's untouchable. Jason Tatum also pretty much untouchable.
How about you give me Ben Simmons and 4 first-round picks? Then maybe I'll consider it. But
maybe, even then, you know. And I was even thinking, like, let's assume that Ben Simmons does go to Boston for whatever reason. I don't even know what that would look like.
It would definitely
Like the trade, let's just say, hypothetically, this would obviously not happen, but let's say it's Ben Simmons for Jalen Brown straight up. I feel like Ben in Boston just wouldn't work in general. You know,
Marcus
I just
Smart
don't
would tear him a new one.
Absolutely.
The thing for me, I think that it would definitely be odd for sure, and there would definitely be like a large period of like trying to figure out like all the chemistry.
Yeah, the large adjustment.
Yeah, there would be a large adjustment period, but I do believe that it would solve some of their issues with playmaking and trying to move the ball around. Mm-hmm. However, I think that it would bring them to have like a lot of other stuff to be taken away as well. Like, I mean, they would definitely not have as much of an offensive focus or threat on the court if Jalen Brown was totally straight up.
Totally shrink the floor for them.
100%.
It would absolutely shrink the floor for them. And I think that just like from a team perspective of like chemistry wise, I just don't see the clash of personalities between what Ben Simmons is doing right now, what he's displayed, and what Marcus Smart is trying to do for this team.
And Ime Udoka would probably tear him a new one too.
Yeah,
I
just don't see that working at all.
I agree.
But like you said, Brad Stevens pretty much said no, you know, which is smart. Absolutely. All right, so of course, like I said, you know, we're going to transition into something else about Ben Simmons, but this is more on the Sixers side right now. Mm-hmm. So this whole thing with Ben Simmons has been going on since the summer, or even right after the playoff series with the Hawks. Yeah. You know, it was a pretty rough ending for them. And then Ben Simmons, you know, requested a trade. He wanted to get out of Philadelphia. He said he didn't want to play there anymore. And then they brought him back. I know he missed training camp, but they brought him back for
voluntarily skipped it.
Yeah, so that they brought him back, and then you know, he was basically just adamant about not wanting to be a part of the team. I know he got kicked out of that practice one time because he didn't want to do some drill or whatever. So then on October 22nd, I know that Ben Simmons came to the Sixers organization and basically said he was not mentally prepared to play basketball right now because, whatever happened between, him and the Hawks with that series, basically his whole, confidence was shaken. He didn't even want to shoot the ball. So he came to them with some issues, and they were willing to help. So they stopped fining him. At the beginning of the season, they were fining him for not showing up for practice and not playing in the opener. But then he came to them with these issues. They stopped fining him. But then, once again, on November 4th, I believe, he missed the game with the Pistons. So they started fining him again because he also failed to provide some sort of evidence about going to the team-recommended doctor or the NBA Player Association
just letting
provided
them know
doctor.
Yeah,
he just really wasn't giving them any sort of information. You left them completely in dark right now. So the fines resumed. So they're starting to fine him again. But on November 8th, on Monday, Ben Simmons did meet with the Sixers backed or approved, mental health specialist, sports psychologist, whatever he was. So what I wanted to talk about is is this a turning point for him? Is he going to finally, kind of get off his high horse or whatever he's doing and decide that he wants to play good basketball?
No.
So you say no.
No.
You're not convinced at all.
History says otherwise.
I'm not going to lie. I think that regardless of even if he gets traded or not, he's going to be having a backseat, a far backseat role in this season. He just doesn't seem like I to an extent. I'll just take this so you don't hold it. To an extent, I feel like that Ben Simmons is genuinely going through some shit and probably does need to take games off and maybe some practices and stuff. To the extent that he is, probably not. But
I think what the Sixers are upset about is he's not telling them anything.
Right. So, I definitely think that, a lack of communication is definitely hindering them. But I think that would also happen with another team. It might not be as drastic because of clearly Ben Simmons holds a little bit more of a grudge with the Sixers right now. But I think that he would struggle throughout regardless throughout the entire season. So I'm with Makoto. I don't think that his attitude would change whatsoever, just based off of meeting with the medical teams.
I'm just gonna say this: I have a thumb sprain, and I'm way more willing to play basketball than he is. That's all fair. I'm saying. And I might re-injure this thing and might give myself permanent ligament damage. But you know what? I'd rather play basketball.
Those things are definitely equal.
Yes.
You playing pickup basketball, Ben Simmons wanting to not play in the NBA.
But
yes. Point being that he needs more motivation to actually get himself fixed. So.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like I said, I don't think that meeting with mental specialists are going to help him drastically. He's ultimately the player, and he's got to choose him whether or not he's going to be able to. He thinks that he's okay enough to play. So I think that it's going to be a long period of time before we see Ben Simmons even probably reach the court again. So we'll see. We'll see where it goes. Obviously not to the extent of he might retire, but we might not see him this season, which is pretty much what I'm saying. So
yeah, I mean, also I'm pretty much on the same boat as you guys. I'm not really convinced that much. I want to see him, get back on the court because I'm a Brooklyn fan. I don't really care about the Sixers at all.
I'm actually a Boston Celtics fan who hates the Sixers.
Yeah, so we don't really care, but I feel like it definitely was unfortunate in my opinion to kind of see him just completely shut down mentally during that playoff series. Yeah. I think it's just a little unfortunate. So it would be nice to see him back, but as of right now, I'm not super convinced.
Yeah, it almost just feels like you dropped his love for basketball for out of thin air.
Exactly.
It just kind of came out of nowhere.
Yeah, it seems like he doesn't really want to play at all. So retirement I think would also be a little bit drastic. But at this point, it's does he even want to come back?
Right.
To any team.
Yeah.
No. No, that's how I
Yeah, and I think a trade is pretty much out of the question as well. The Sixers don't want to part with him. Nobody else is able to offer a package that the Sixers want. And that's mostly on the Sixers. I think they're asking way too much for him.
What kind of baffles me is just why the Sixers hold him in such high regard, even though they're having such difficulties with him right now.
Yeah,
I would have
I don't know why.
Very differently 2 years ago. 2 years ago, Ben Simmons, or a year ago, Ben Simmons, maybe I would have traded Jalen Brown for Ben Simmons, but not to
right
current
now.
day.
Definitely not. Well, I mean, it's like his offensive skill set limit. Like I think one of the things that he definitely has over a lot of players is he's a very good defender, and I think no matter where he goes, he's going to bring a solid defensive presence. Yeah. But right now, I mean, he's supposed to be a playmaker. He's 6'10", he's a point guard, and he can't shoot free throws. He doesn't even want to, take mid-range shots, anything like that, and it seems like he doesn't want to work on it either. So, that's a whole thing as well. So, all right. Last thing we're going to talk about for the new segment is this Jokic ejection that we had on Wednesday. I think it was Wednesday. So this one's going to be quick. I really just wanted to bring it up because I thought it was absolutely ridiculous that, Jokic was trying out for the WWE in the middle of middle of an NBA game.
Oh, it was Tuesday. I'm pretty
Tuesday.
Oh.
They were playing the Heat, but either way, I'm sure that you guys have seen it. Jokic took a hit from Markieff Morris, and then he retaliated pretty harshly. And this is his 7th career ejection right now. He's in his 7th season, so he's
Hockey checked him to the ground.
Yeah, seriously, absolutely bodied him. So he's not known to be, a super aggressive person. But I know we did see something with the Sun series where he got ejected when he was chirping at Booker as well. So, really what I just wanted to bring up is maybe are we seeing kind of a shift in Jokic's attitude? Yeah, for like the whole thing. Is this going to be like maybe a consistent issue now? It's only once. It's early in the season, but right now, just these two things are too close for me to. They are too close where I'm thinking like this may be an issue at some point later down the line.
I'll let James go first.
Yeah,
but I have something quick to say after.
Yeah, go. For me personally, I don't see Jokic going towards a level of DeMarcus Cousins where he's going to get, where he might get 15, 16 ejections in a season. I don't see it becoming that that drastic.
That was prime DeMarcus Cousins right there.
True. Punching
people out of the stadium.
The one thing that I will say is that I think that that Jokic is understanding the more aggressive attitude that he may have to take, especially as a bigger guy who is a little bit slower and a little bit undersized for his position. But I also think that he's noticing the rule changes and that he might be able to get away with a couple more fouls than he does recently, or than he has in recent years, I should say. So I do think that he may be, adding that to his arsenal and seeing how much he can get away with. But I don't think Jokic was really a malicious person like that.
Yeah, I don't see that at all.
And not that DeMarcus Cousins was either, but he definitely had more. He
definitely wanted everyone to know his opinion.
Exactly. So
DeMarcus Cousins was a lot more outspoken about that stuff.
Fucked up.
Okay. Anyway.
I didn't want to say that.
Move on. But I just don't see. Yeah, I just don't see Jokic becoming that kind of a player.
I don't see it either.
He's too skilled of a player to let it kind of waste away with his dickishness.
Right.
Alright, we were screwed up already, so you know what?
Yeah, who cares? You have anything to say about that?
I'm gonna say it for the team trends because I think that's also the reason, because the Nuggets are deceivingly good this year. They are 7-4, but there's a lot more I want to say because they've lost to a lot of bad teams. That's all I'm going to say. I'll save for the team trend segment later.
So I also had a couple notes about what a Jokic suspension would look like for the Nuggets, but as of yesterday, I think it was, it's only a 1-game suspension, so it's not really going to matter.
Fine like $50,000.
Yeah, he got fined $50,000. I think Markieff Morris got fined $40,000. But basically, last thing I'm going to ask about this is, do you think that, because you guys both saw it,
yeah.
So do you think that what Jokic did, do you think he retaliated too hard?
No.
Back on?
No.
Markieff Morris? No, you don't think so?
Not at all. I think that
checked each other.
Yeah, I think that Markieff Morris's intentional contact was definitely more intentional than accidental. Mm-hmm. He that wasn't necessarily a play at going for the ball. He checked his shoulder.
No, he was totally going for the body.
I think that Jokic's reaction may have been a little bit overreacted, but do I think that his action was just 100%?
Yep.
Yeah.
I'm with you on that as well. I mean, Markieff Morris, like, he absolutely went for the body. He was not trying to play the ball at all, and he turned his shoulder into him. Jokic, definitely a little bit overreaction. We'll play the clip right there. Yeah. But a little bit of an overreaction. But I think that it seems like it's almost going back to like '90s basketball right now.
That's what I'm happy
we're
about.
seeing we're seeing a lot of like just harder plays, aggressive plays, stuff like that.
Playing through contact.
Absolutely. So that's going to be interesting.
And the last thing I want to say before we move on is that Jokic's brothers have bought tickets for the next Heat
they
game,
are in on
and they are front row. So if anything does happen, they're just going to jump onto the court and actually back it.
And let's throw a picture of them up there as well, because I don't know if you guys have seen them, but they are scary looking.
If I can find a picture
dudes.
of them like in the stands, like towering over people, like yelling at Markieff Morris.
They are scary looking people.
But yeah, that's like that's the last thing I want to say.
Yeah, no, it's gonna be interesting for I think November 29th is when the Nuggets play in Miami. Definitely watch out for that. So we might see something crazy go on. Yeah. Might see another Malice at the
Jimmy
Palace.
might come out.
Oh yeah, definitely.
So that's all I'm gonna say. Let's end it with that.
All right. So moving on from that, we're gonna do a little segment called Rookie Watch. We like to call Rookie Watch. We're gonna look at some of these rookies that we've had throughout this season. There's a lot of them, but we're gonna talk about some of the people who have lived up to the hype and maybe a few who have surprised. Yeah. And have done something that maybe we weren't expecting at all. So either you want to?
Yeah, I'll take Jalen Green.
Yeah, go for it.
All
right, so first we're going to talk about Jalen Green. I will start off by saying that I have him on my fantasy team, so I'm happy that he's doing well this season. He's doing really good in Houston right now. He's averaging 14.5 points per game with three rebounds and 3 assists. Yep. And he's averaging 33 minutes per game, which is pretty good for a rookie. Starting out pretty strong.
He's starting all of his games as well.
100%. Yeah. So he started all of his games. He's been playing really good. Very aggressive on the court. And making his presence known as a rookie. He's definitely one of the guys that we're going to see as a big Rookie of the Year contender. I wouldn't be surprised if he was in the conversation or ended up getting the Rookie of the Year mention. But yeah, he's been balling out. I'm very happy to have him on my fantasy team.
Yeah, I mean, and I don't know if you guys have like actually watched him play or seen some of the highlights and stuff. It's pretty crazy. I mean, he's got a great touch on the ball. Pause. But he's got a really nice handle. He has a nice shooting stroke. So, I mean, this guy is going to be a problem in the league for a long time, I think. Yep. So what I wanted to ask is, do you think that Houston has found their franchise player in Jalen Green?
Yes, I think they might have. I think that they're very similar to. Sorry, Makoto. I think that I would say that the best way to describe them is that they're very similar to Cleveland, but it could end up working out. I think that Jalen Green and Kevin Porter Jr. are definitely going to be the franchise players for Houston, and I think that it was very similar into the way that they had drafted them, like Cleveland did with Darius Garland and Colin Sexton. Obviously, right now that's kind of working out a little shaky and not, really going great for Cleveland right now. But I think that for Houston, it could work out.
Meniscus, so let's just put
that too, yeah.
Dealing with injuries and whatnot.
And I was gonna say that KPJ's not playing as hot, but Jalen Green's definitely picking up the slack. So they're playing as a duo. They're playing as a duo should. Like if one person's down, the other person should be picking.
And I think the way right now with KPJ, the way he's playing, I think they just put him in the point guard role this year. He's starting point guard, so he's averaging like 6 turnovers a game, which is insane.
He's not a point guard, by the way. He's a true shooting guard.
He is a shooting guard, but right now they put him in the point guard role. And honestly, watching him play, he has the vision for it. Mm-hmm. Just the actual execution of his passes are, something that I think he's going to learn. On his vision. He's going to learn for sure. I mean, he's only 21. Jalen Green's 20. Yep. So these guys are going to be issues for a long time. And right now, Houston has a nice young core sitting there. They have the youngest team in the league, I think, right now, or one of like top 5 youngest teams in the league.
Yeah. Speaking of young cores, let's move on to the next guy, Evan Mobley. He is working with a young core of course, Sexton, Garland, and Jared Allen. Amazingly, he's playing the 4, and he's playing really well as a 4, surprisingly, getting 33 minutes a night, which basically means they're playing him most of the night in conjunction with Jared Allen, which is surprising because you wouldn't expect 2 7-footers on the court at the same time.
I knew that was one of my reservations when Cleveland drafted Evan Mobley. I was going to say because they also had just given Jared Allen max extension. So I was kind of concerned as how that was going to work out.
Yeah.
But it
They
seems
must
like
have saw something.
Especially since they also traded away JaVale McGee to the Suns. So they lost their backup backup center. Sorry.
Yeah, and I'm just surprised that it was working because, again, like exactly, I had all those thoughts. But also, Mobley was not really a good stretch from my understanding, when watching him in college. I mean, he's definitely a NBA-ready player when I saw him in college, so he was not going to take time to. He doesn't need time to develop. But my understanding, he wasn't good at shooting threes. His 3-point.
Yeah, I mean, right now he's
25.
only shooting about 3 attempts a game. So he's definitely not a stretch four. I don't think that's what they were necessarily looking for, but the man is definitely
He's athletic.
He's a defensive presence.
Yeah, he is athletic. He can move. Like, he's very nimble for a 7-footer.
Absolutely, and he can switch. He can switch because they have Jared Allen locking down the paint because he's a true shot blocker for sure. And then now Evan Mobley being able to guard some of the wings a little bit on the outside, I think definitely is helping Cleveland's defensive scheme.
Can I just add one more thing to Evan Mobley?
No.
Yeah.
Okay. The last thing that I want to say about Evan Mobley is that I think that Jared Allen and Evan Mobley have a very high potential of being one of the most dominant defensive front courts that we've seen in the NBA in a decent amount of time, because both guys are really good at defense, and Jared Allen still has some kinks that he needs to work out. Evan Mobley's still young; he has a bunch of stuff that he needs to work out. But as soon as those guys get into their primes, and they will be in their primes together, it could be very dangerous on Cleveland to see that happen. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if people were starting to compare Jared Allen and Evan Mobley in a couple of years to Rudy Gobert type defensive play, because those guys down low are going to be very, very hard to get past.
Yeah. I mean, they're both averaging a block a game right now.
Yeah.
So
they were what DeMarcus Cousins and AD was supposed to be on the Pelicans.
Right, exactly.
So I'm gonna just a little history thing, but remember the times when AD and when Cousins got signed to the Pelicans, they really wanted to make a big court, a big front duo. Didn't really happen because they have two completely different play styles, and it didn't seem to mesh. That's why DeMarcus Cousins is on the downward trend that he was. So that's the start, honestly, where DeMarcus Cousins had the downfall, I think.
Do we have a little bit of time for a quick story?
No. Save it for next week. We'll save it for next week when it comes to DeMarcus Cousins. But we'll do a
little story time.
The next guy I really want to talk about, because he is on my fantasy team, Scotty Barnes.
Scotty Barnes, baby.
Off the waiver wire. Man's been playing out of his mind. I watched him both times when the Raptors played the Celtics. He's an amazing player. Everyone was crapping on him crapping on the Raptors for drafting him 4th. But honestly, for what they're looking for, the place, the scheme and everything that the Raptors are implementing this year, Scotty Barnes is the perfect player for that. He's basically Kawhi who can't shoot threes, essentially. Amazing defender, amazing playmaker.
It's high praise.
Yeah.
Honestly, that is high praise for the
I'm
rookie.
Praising him because I'm surprised
he's balling out in Toronto right now for sure.
Yeah, exactly. He's playing really well, getting starting minutes as a rookie as well. I'm honestly surprised. And again, Scotty Barnes, I didn't really think he would. I thought he would have to take a couple of years to develop in the league when I saw him out of college, but he transitioned really well, and the Raptors are playing really well, and they killed us once, and we beat him last night, but Barnes was still doing his thing.
Yeah, Raptors right now, I'm pretty sure they're top 5, if not top defense in the league right now.
7-6, yeah. Speaks to Scotty Barnes.
Yeah, so Scotty Barnes definitely bringing a lot there. If you guys watch him, he's really quick on his feet. I know he was guarding Harden pretty well as well, and he's tough to guard. With the whole foul rule, that's a different story. But Harden is not an easy defensive assignment, so the fact that Scotty Barnes as a rookie is able to, make him pass out of a lot of his shots, I think definitely speaks a lot of volumes.
Apparently, Scotty Barnes just locked up KD and Harden by himself, apparently.
Yeah, even though both of them had about 30 points that night, so, we can talk about that. But point is that, no, he definitely had some solid possessions on defense. A couple steals on him right now. He's averaging 8.5 rebounds a game. He's a big dude. So I think that right now with Toronto, like you said, that's kind of just what they needed, especially after they essentially, half blew up the team because they traded a lot of assets away. They traded Kyle Lowry. I know they still have Pascal Siakam.
Well, yeah, I was just going to mention that he's
Fleet.
been sucking recently.
No, they definitely needed Scotty Barnes to come in and kind of pick up a lot of that slack.
Hey, they got an insane core. I think they'll be good in the next couple of years when OG Anunoby takes another step, Scotty Barnes takes another step. Pascal Siakam hopefully will get back to his 2019 self. When he does, I think they're serious playoff contenders when Pascal Siakam gets back to being the way he was.
Yeah,
that's all I'm going to say about the Raptors. But
I
would not a Raptor segment. This is a
I wanted to ask if you guys really thought that Pascal was going to be able to get back on that, but that's a conversation for another day.
Exactly.
So now we're going to talk about some rookies who have kind of surprised a little bit.
Yeah.
Someone, a couple guys who maybe not have expected to be as hot as they are right now. But the first guy I wanted to talk about was Josh Giddey. Josh Giddey right now, not the best scorer right now, a little lackluster, only shooting 39% from the field, but 6 boards a game, 6 assists a game, 6 assists a game. For me, like seeing a rookie get 6 assists a game is really a good sign to know that he has good vision, he has good basketball IQ, and I mean that's not really something that you lose. You can only really kind of improve upon that.
Yeah.
So if he improves his shooting a little bit and his scoring ability, this guy is going to be incredible. And I think that the tandem that they're trying to work out with, if they have Shea as well as Lou Dort, and now Josh Giddey, I think that the Oklahoma City Thunder, also like the Rockets, they have a nice young core right now, and I think that if they can develop them, they're going to be problems as well.
Yeah, I think the only thing that concerns me for Josh Giddey a little bit is his inconsistent shooting and efficiency. I think that obviously those are things that he can clearly work on quite easily with a bunch of his player coaches for OKC, but I do think that that is something to note, and it could be a detriment to him later on in his career if he doesn't get working on it soon.
Because we've seen an example of that in Philadelphia if you don't work on your shot.
Right.
So,
yeah.
Exactly. Kind of what you want to mirror.
So
you don't want to mirror.
Yeah. So Josh Giddey needs to get working on his shooting a little bit. I mean, right now he's just averaging a little bit under 10 points. If he bumps those numbers up a little bit, then he could probably be a Rookie of the Year contender if he isn't already. But I think that he would definitely be a more locked-in spot for that kind of title if he did improve his shooting, because right now, what is he shooting? A little under 40% from the field?
39% from the field, and I'm pretty sure it's like somewhere around 25 from 3.
Yeah.
So definitely very inefficient shooting right now.
As an NBA player, you got to shoot a little bit better than that, but not the worst thing to have in your game. It's definitely something that is fixable.
And I think as a rookie, that's one of the best issues to have.
I agree.
If you're going to have a rookie, the one issue that you probably want them to have is inconsistent shooting, because that just takes time. Especially he's getting used to the league now, so he just needs a little bit of time. I think definitely it's going to work out for him. But for me, it's definitely the playmaking. I think the fact that he has already really good playmaking skills is just going to translate across the board for the next couple of years for them.
Sure. Yeah, speaking of a guy who's transitioned really well shooting-wise, and a guy I wanted to talk about personally, Chris Duarte, who plays for the Pacers. Dort? I thought it was Duarte.
No, the E silent.
Oh, interesting. I heard a lot
whatever
of
the guy, that guy, whatever his name is.
That guy, whatever his name is. Chris Duarte. People say it both ways. Chris Duarte, shooting 40% from 3. Transitioned really well as a spot shooter, basically, for the Pacers. And considering Malcolm Brogdon's out, he's been getting a lot of starting minutes.
True.
So
I think that's why he's gotten a nice chance to shine.
Yeah.
Just because Malcolm Brogdon's out right now.
So I just wanted to quickly note him. I didn't really want to go in depth on him because I haven't watched many Pacers game. But any highlights I see with Chris Duarte, amazing to see him, just his movement around the court and his shooting are all the two highlights.
Be a very deadly 3-point shooter later on in his career.
Absolutely, and right now, like you said, he's shooting 40% on 5.8 attempts a game. So almost 6 attempts as a rookie. I mean, he's 24, but he's still a rookie, and he's shooting 40% on 6 attempts. This guy's going to be a dead-eye shooter.
And he was praised for shooting out of the draft, and he's showing it in the league right now. So that's all I wanted to highlight. The next guy we should definitely go a little bit more in depth in because he was a big surprise for us coming out of the league. But Kate Cunningham, injured for the first part of the league, came back, played really terrible off his injury. Now starting to pick it up, so I'm happy that he's playing back to his potential.
He's only got 5 games right now, 28 minutes a game. But for me, this shooting splits are horrendous.
I'll just add one little thing
similar.
to that. He's really abusing his green light right now for the team. Like, I think that right now, like, he's just chucking up shots to try and get the feel of the game. But like that, honestly, right now, that might not be the best thing for him.
No.
So,
I mean, he's shooting right now. He is shooting 28% from the field and 22 from three.
We were like
number one draft.
We were critiquing Josh Giddey for 40%. Look at 28%. That's completely. That is worse than.
And it's about 14, 13 shots a game.
You can't do that in the NBA, man. Can't do that.
That was like a negative surprise or a bad surprise for us because I thought he would have shot better. Again, he's a bigger guy. Maybe he should abuse his size and just get his field goal percentage up by making more layups and like shorter mid-range shots. But that's my opinion.
If he was 25 and not 20 or however old he is, coming out of college and not a rookie, like he would probably get sent overseas within the next couple days. Like
he would get pushed to the G League.
This is bad looks from a number one pick.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. But right now, I think they're gonna try to ride this out. And like I said, he's only played 5 games.
True.
So this is a really small sample size. These other rookies have over 10 games each of them.
Full season, basically.
So far for all the games that they've played. Cade Cunningham, very small sample size right now, but it is not looking good at the start.
No.
Especially since I know he's got about 3 assists a game, and I know he was praised for his playmaking skills when he was coming out of college.
And I do think that will definitely get better. My concern is that his shooting and scoring is going to be a massive problem, and definitely could end up being another Ben Simmons type player.
Yeah, where he just doesn't want to shoot. I mean, when you're shooting 20, that doesn't even look real.
Yeah.
28% from the field. Oh, I mean, I hope it works out for him because I know that, he is definitely supposed to be a good player.
He's praised out of the draft, number one pick.
Yeah, I mean, number one pick, the Pistons were very excited to get him. So,
number one picks do seem to either fail or do not do that well in the first year or two. So,
we'll see what happens with him. I think also definitely a huge part of it is coming off of an injury.
Yeah.
We're being a little harsh on him, I think. But 28%, not great, not good optics for him.
We're hammering it home. He sucks at shooting.
Yeah. I think it'll work out for him, hopefully.
Yeah.
But, we'll see what happens.
We'll see. All right, Team trends. Last segment. We're going to be doing this probably throughout the season, just talking about teams that are either like trending upwards or trending downwards based on their performance. The 2 teams that I'm surprised about: Golden State Warriors and the Wizards. Both are number 1 in their conference right now. I didn't personally expect them both to be number 1. Obviously, the Wizards with 8 wins.
Wizards are a massive surprise.
Yeah, Wizards are a massive surprise. And also, Golden State Warriors with 10 wins, the most wins in the league, and playing really well without Klay either. Klay is still injured, and they're playing this well. So, and also I'm going to talk about my last upward trend before we just get into a little discussion about it. But the Clippers, with a 6-game winning streak without Kawhi, PG still playing really well. So these 3 teams, I think the commonality I see between all these 3 teams is their teamwork and chemistry within all the players. Sure. They kind of retain like a system that works well with all the players they've recruited. Like, you think about the Warriors with grabbing Iguodala off the free agency and stuff like that. Like, players are not that high impact, but with the system they're put in with Steve Kerr or what's his name for the Clippers?
Ty Lue.
Ty Lue. They have implemented an amazing system for the players they were given. So I just want to put that out there for.
I think Golden State specifically, the reason why they're doing so well, obviously they have Steph Curry. Steph Curry is an amazing player, but we have seen where it's difficult for a team to do this well, having only one superstar necessarily. But I think that they built a team around Steph. They built a system around him, and it's just working out in his favor. He's getting open shots. He's hitting shots that are not even close to being open as well.
It's looking like 2016 Warriors, which is scary.
No, they have a great system. There's great ball, like the ball movement that they have. Watching them, they're swinging it all along the perimeter, and they're getting almost exclusively open shots.
Celtics fans would pay to have that, but you know what? This is not a Celtics set.
But I think also the Wizards right now. Wizards doing exceptionally well. In a conference that we thought was going to be more competitive than the West, which we still have yet to see. But right now, everyone clowns on this man. But Kyle Kuzma, not bad this season. He is not bad. Okay, he is shooting 38% from 3 on 6.5 attempts a game right now. 14 points per game. All right. The man is playing 33 minutes, so a little bit more impact would be nice. All right. 9 rebounds. I know you guys are not convinced, but the record speaks for itself.
I'm just saying, what's changed? Like, look at it. You're literally looking at his past seasons. Tell me what's different, really.
I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that he's having a breakout season.
No, I'm not saying that you are. I'm just saying that.
But right now, he went. I think I was trying to say last year that he was on the Lakers. That was not the place for him. But right now, I think that his skill set is being utilized significantly more in Washington.
Hold up.
I want to say something after James finishes.
Oh, I think James just noticed something.
Why the hell is Kuzma shooting under 50% from the free throw line?
That is
what?
Well, he only has 2 free throw attempts per game.
That is very interesting.
Why does he only have 2 free throws?
Because that's like, if you make one, miss one, that's basically 50. So like,
is this so trash?
No, I mean 47% from the free throw line, even on only 2 attempts a game. That's pretty ass.
Yeah.
But barring that,
you should at least be 75.
Barring that,
miss.
Okay. Barring that.
I just noticed that.
Yeah. No, that is definitely.
I do have a little theory I want to throw out there.
Barring that, he is. I think his impact is showing on the Wizards right now.
Speaking of the impact, my little theory that's been going around a lot of NBA circles on YouTube is about the Lakers either misevaluating talent or misusing talent. Mm-hmm. And I think Kyle Kuzma wasn't a bad player. You saw him like his rookie year and his second year being like a decently good player. And I think just when LeBron came in and a bunch of other stuff and like having shitty coaches like Luke Walton didn't really help him at all. And that's also why his stock dropped, and now the Wizards have him, and they know how to utilize talent with Wes Unseld Jr. being a good coach that he is. Because we were a little hesitant with him in the beginning of the year, or during the offseason when he got signed. But I think he's shown that he's, done the best with what he's got. He's only got Beal as a superstar, or as an all-star superstar, whatever you want to categorize him. So he's done really well with the talent he's given, and I think Kyle Kuzma a great addition for what it's worth. I don't, he's not like...
That's what I'm trying to say.
He's not a breakout,
That's what I'm trying to say. This is not a breakout season for him.
He fits with what the Wizards need, essentially, is what I'm
Exactly.
saying.
He's bringing what they need. I mean, he's getting rebounds. He's shooting decent.
He doesn't need to be the lead scorer at all.
No.
He's a role player, essentially.
No, definitely not. He does not need to be like primary ball handler or anything like that. But
which the Lakers tried to make him do, which did not work. Even with Lonzo Ball there, I think they tried to make him like a secondary ball handler, which did not work. So that's also
Kuzma doing some good things for the
again. That's my
critique
with the Lakers.
That's where I think a lot of that is coming from.
I think he's helping the team out in some capacity. But the only thing that I do want to note, and no, it's not just because I hate Kyle Kuzma, but he's still not like putting up the same numbers that he did like in previous seasons. Like even on the Lakers, like as much as people say like what literally just like we were talking about, like they don't know how to utilize like their talent and everything, like. Kuzma still hasn't met the numbers that he has even in his second year of being in the league. I mean, he averaged 18 points, was shooting more efficiently on both ends. Yep. I like the only thing that I will say is yes, like I do think that he's helping out the Wizards in some capacity, like I had mentioned, but he's still doing worse than what he did previously. So I don't think that he's doing that well in comparison to the rest of the team, considering that
at least what I'm trying to say is that I think as opposed to him being a fantastic player, I think that he's helping the Wizards out more than like I'm trying to say that he
helps the Lakers out.
For sure. But like he's definitely not on track to have a breakout
useless.
season.
I don't know. Yeah, I don't.
No, I mean, the way you describe him sometimes.
Yeah, I mean, sure, but but that's just because I sound like a hater for not liking him.
Honestly,
well, I mean,
I might make this a Kyle Kuzma segment on the YouTube. I don't know how I'm feeling, but we'll see how that goes.
I mean, everyone has their opinions on Kyle Kuzma. Yeah. Most of them are pretty bad, but right now I'm trying to defend this man. This man and say
that. But I do agree. I do think
Wizards are doing some good things right now. And like I said, I mean, first in the conference, can't really argue with some numbers right there.
Yeah. So downward trends. 2 teams. I'm surprised that they're doing terrible. Atlanta Hawks are on a 5-game losing streak, and they are out. Are they outside the? Yeah, they're outside even the play-in tournament range. They're like 11th or 12th. They're below the Celtics right now, which is surprising to say the least. Yeah, they are below the Pacers. They are 13th in the Eastern Conference. Second team I want to talk about, the Nuggets. They are, what are they? They're like 5th or whatever, but the record does seem deceiving. I want to go into I just want to do a quick thing about the Hawks. They have Trae Young. They were like the Cinderella team of last year's playoffs. Mm-hmm. I thought they would have done better this year, take another step forward, but they didn't. I don't know what Nate McMillan's doing. I think it's coaching. Personally, that's just my thought. If you guys want to quickly talk about that before we go to the Nuggets.
I haven't really been watching the Hawks game, so I can't really speak to that. I can say that it is definitely surprising after them going. Well, I mean, is it surprising? That's the thing. So they made it to the Eastern Conference Finals last year, and a lot of people were very surprised about it, and I know people had their doubts about if they were going to be able to repeat it. And obviously, it's still early in the season, but right now, the connection that Trae Young and John Collins have, that everyone was saying is going to be like super deadly right now. It's just not.
It's there. It's just not as impactful
working
as it was.
Yeah,
last
impactful.
Year.
That's a good.
Because I saw John Collins like
right
popping
there.
off this whole season, but I just don't know what's going on with the rest of them. Again, like I saw John Collins like shooting a bunch of threes and like actually like being like dominant in the paint. That's like everything I've seen from the Hawks. So. I haven't seen much from Trae Young, so maybe Trae Young is the issue. I don't know. That's all I've seen.
Well, actually, surprisingly, I was going to say the opposite of that, to be honest. Personally, I think that Trae's not the problem. I think John Collins is, and the only reason why I'm saying that, and it's not really anything to do with his play, just more of the fact that John Collins can sometimes not be a total presence on or off the court. And the reason why I say that is Mans is an injury-prone player. Mm-hmm. He gets injured a lot. He's been injured a lot for the short amount of time that he's been in the NBA. And I think that affects Trae Young a little bit because he doesn't have a lot of players that he can rely on and trust to ultimately help his team to get these victories. And if all of the weight is on him, I think that, he kind of cracks under the pressure a little bit. And as great of a player as he is, I mean, he can't lead every single fucking game for them to win.
It doesn't help that they have two injury-prone players, DeAndre Hunter and John Collins, because they're both really good players on their own merit, but if they both keep getting injured, you can't really have them be utilized to their best potential. Exactly. And they're coming off injury every other week or whatever. I'm over-exaggerating, but point being, coming off injury sucks, and it takes time to get back to like full 100% speed that you're supposed to be at. I don't know exactly the wording was there. Point being, they aren't going to play as well as they could have even if they didn't get injured. So I also want to go into the Nuggets as the last team I want to talk about because, again, record can be deceiving because I'm going to list off the teams they lost to. They lost to the Timberwolves, Thunder, where is it?
Grizzlies
they lost to the Grizzlies twice. So that was really concerning. They lost to the Cavaliers. That's another thing that caught my eye. I mean, the Cavs are doing really well this year.
Give the loss to the Timberwolves a little bit more credit to the Timberwolves.
That's also when
Timberwolves are doing well this season, all right?
They weren't. They aren't now, but that's when D'Lo was healthy though. So I do
exactly. Yeah, now D'Lo is out. I mean, I know the Timberwolves started their season 3-1, and now
they're in a 6 losing streak.
So they're down bad right now for sure.
But I think sucks.
Yeah, well, Cat does suck. Like, I don't know what. I mean, did you guys see his buzzer beater sent into overtime? That was cool. Yeah. But pretty much other than that, I don't know. The man's kind of soft.
It just doesn't help that he's like defensive liability when it comes to a big man.
Cat's a good player, but he reminds me a lot of Andre Drummond, where he's not very much improving.
He's the opposite of Andre Drummond. He's the offensive version of Andre Drummond.
But based off of career growth.
Growth, yeah.
Very, very similar, stagnant.
Like Ben Simmons also.
Yeah, very stagnant
little,
for most of their careers.
Improvement.
However, I do think that whenever D'Lo comes onto the court, he gets a lot more involved.
Because I think a lot of the time,
really well.
Well, a lot of the times also you'll see that Cat demands a lot of defensive attention, and I mean, he's not the best shooter. So, once they, kind of crowd him around in the paint, if he doesn't back them down, then he doesn't really have a whole lot to do.
Quick criticism of the Timberwolves.
Before we move on.
Yeah, before we move on.
That's not too much. I don't really want to talk about them.
Yeah, no, I know. But, yeah, just a quick thing. Both Cat and D'Lo are very low-motor players, so I think that the Timberwolves are really trying to figure out how they can kind of...
Cat's actually having a good season.
Yeah, have a good season with keeping that kind of low energy play because they're obviously D'Lo and Cat aren't really going to change their play style for the team, and so I think that with barring that, I think that they need to work that out first before they can advance better to hopefully making a playoff run. But continuing on.
Last thing, because you did bring it up, that low energy or low motor players. That's why they brought on Patrick Beverley. High energy, high motor player. Definitely can be a menace on the court.
Absolutely.
So that's the last thing I wanted to say. That's probably why they brought him on. I didn't know why they signed Pat, but now I'm seeing it with what you just said.
Yeah.
So with the Nuggets,
back to the Nuggets.
Back to the Nuggets, because I had one point I want to talk about is that MPJ's not playing as well as he was. And he's
out with a back injury right now.
They're not utilizing the pick and roll with him, which is what they should have. They were doing the whole playoff run. They were smoking everybody with that pick and roll because they are two big players that can move really well. And they don't seem to be doing that because MPJ is averaging less than 10 points a game, I'm pretty sure. I'm going to check. Yep, he's 9.9 points. So basically 10 points a game. And it doesn't help that Jamal Murray's out, but I think that's also the main cause that MPJ is not playing to what he was last season, which is probably why the Nuggets aren't playing as well. They should be like the second or third best team in the West, honestly, in my opinion, if they were playing that. If he was playing well.
It's bad. So right now he's out with a back injury once again.
Yeah.
And even before that, I mean, he was playing about 30 minutes a game. On the 9 games that he started, I mean, he does not have good shooting splits at all.
Well, I think
35% from the field. He's got 20% from 3 on 5 attempts.
I'm just gonna
not a good shooting season for him.
I think the one thing we need one thing that highlights everything. MPJ was averaging 19 points last season. He's averaging 9 this season. Or 10 points, essentially. 9.9, 10. So that says it all, honestly.
Mm-hmm. Well, also, last season, he was shooting 44% from 3 and 54% from the field. And right now, he is shooting 20% from 3. So he is out with a back injury. We'll see what happens when he comes back. But
he doesn't recover because I like MPJ as a player.
I like him as a player, too. And he has a good skill set to be able to be a good player. I mean, he's about 6'10", 6'9". He can shoot relatively well, and he can rebound. And he's not a bad defender either. So he has a skill set for it. But, I mean, again, it's like a similar problem with what we were talking about with Cade. If he has, if he's shooting this poorly, then it's not going to go well for him. And he needs to improve on this when he comes back. And maybe stop being so injury prone,
We say that to every injury.
No, I know. I mean, it's
player.
I know he has back problems that I think they had surgeries on it and it just didn't work or something. So honestly, it might be a tragic story for MPJ. But hopefully he'll come back and then have a good season because I like him. I want to see him do well.
Yeah, but that's all I have for the team trends. Hopefully we'll see some different teams in the later in the season. But I mean that's really it. Y'all have any closing comments for me?
I think that's about it.
All right, remember to subscribe on YouTube and drop a like and a comment, whatever you want to comment. Maybe segment ideas. What you liked and didn't like segment-wise. So, of course,
shoot us a DM on Instagram.
Shoot us a DM on Instagram. We actually got one this week, surprisingly. Honestly, I love you. But whoever you are, let's not say names.
Yeah, all right, fair enough.
Leave a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts. Subscribe if you're on Spotify. We'll see y'all next week.
Peace.